Good morning. All right, I hope I'm doing better on the camera angle today, you guys. Thank you for that feedback. I'm clumsy at best with this. It feels important to just keep practicing and just keep putting it out there, and y'all just keep me posted on what we need to do differently. I also had a couple of offers for camera people, and I love that idea. So we might get some of that figured out. I love it when Kelly from Sea Glass Salvage Market helps me, and some of the offers came from some folks I think that will be a lot of fun to do that with. So we'll see. But it also occurred to me at some point that I have just kind of leaped into this without really explaining some of the whys behind it. And not everybody has yet read my book. So as much as I would love for everybody to, hop on Amazon or hop onto thepaintedmermaid.com or come to the store and get their copy, I also don't want anybody who just needs the information to get left in the dust without some of what's important in there being shared here. So I had a really serious scare last year in the emergency room, and the food had been something that had been coming, but once you go through something like that, you realize maybe I'm supposed to do a little bit more with this information. So thus the sharing, and it's just really been life altering all the way around, you guys. So, and like a lot of the feedback I get is yeah, but I don't have time, and yeah, it costs a lot of money, but it just really doesn't. It's all in how you look at it. It's all in perspective. Perspective is my big word this year as well. So anyway, I have a pork in the crock pot. Now, as far as like what kind of pork, to me that always has to do with what's cheapest. And when I go to Aldi, Aldi's tenderloins, they're huge. And if I were skilled enough at moving the camera, I would show you just how huge. It is literally filling up this crock pot. This is a full-size crock pot. I put this in here with apple cider vinegar, tomato paste that I've mixed with apple cider vinegar, garlic powder, onion powder, and salt. That's it, you guys, and it cooks all day. And the beauty in this big old hunk of meat is it costs less than $9. It will serve 3 of us tonight because my mother's coming over for dinner. And I will shred it and stick it in the fridge, and it becomes the base for a lot of things throughout the week. So tacos for Tucker. That sounds like a show in itself, doesn't it? Tacos for Tuck. I'll throw some on a salad for me, or just eat it on a plate. It's great on a sandwich. I mean, like, it's just good to have in the fridge. And that's a lot of how I function these days, is I cook once-ish. I mean, you can't literally just cook once, but it's close. I do a lot of just heating up in the microwave after that. So tonight, what I thought would be good with it is coleslaw, which is another super simple thing. And it's a great way to get like buku vegetables in. And so that's all I'm doing. Now, I do a lot of pre-cut stuff. I mean, here again, that's, that depends on what kind of time you do or don't have, what your interest is. And not everybody loves to be in the kitchen. I like to be in the kitchen, but not everybody does. So this is all pre-chopped, pre-cut, and it's just cabbage and carrots in this particular case. And I am not yet at the point where I'm making my own mayonnaise. That's another thing that seems like uber simple, and I will learn. It's on my list. But in the meantime, I use an avocado oil mayonnaise, because one of the biggest switches, one of the biggest pieces of the paleo lifestyle is that you need to go with like the good fats. So I don't do vegetable oil, for example. The only oils that I do are olive, avocado, or coconut. And they're all wonderful. I use them all the time. So in this particular case, it's an avocado oil mayonnaise. Now, I love kale. Not everybody loves kale, but here again, it's just like anything else. Sometimes it's all in how it's prepared. So one of the ways I get kale into my system, and I have learned here lately that it's very high in K2, which is super important for heart health. And so I just chop the kale and I throw it in with my coleslaw. That's what we're making today, coleslaw. So kale goes in the bowl. Now, as I was going through the fridge, I was like, what else is in there that needs to be used up? And the idea of throwing this green pepper in sounded fabulous. I got my compost bucket going over there. And any vegetable that you like, if you think of your coleslaw as just another salad, is a cool way to just get vegetables in. And again, I just keep it in the fridge. It's good to have it all week. I don't know, I'm kind of a simple eater. I don't require things to be heated up very often. I mean, I like a good hot meal, but sometimes just a bowl of coleslaw. Sometimes when you say that out loud, you're like, really, Amy? But I do. I just like a bowl of coleslaw. As long as it's the right coleslaw, you know. So anyway, chop up however much of your green pepper you want in there. And the chopping, you know, takes time, you guys, but not enough to say I don't have time to do. You know, we all make time to go through the drive-thru. We all make time to, you know, stick the ready-made pizza in the oven and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, this other stuff just doesn't take that much time. So, throw in the green pepper in. And I'm going to go ahead and just cut it all up because I think that's just the better way to go ahead and show that it just does not take that much time. Alright, one of these days maybe I'll chop like guy spaghetti, but in the meantime, I'm clumsy. It works. Green pepper in the bowl. Alright, then the other thing that I had in the fridge that, you know, you guys know already I adore is spinach, and I love it raw as much as I do cooked. So spinach is the other thing that I throw in my coleslaw. Now, you know, on a good day, if I'm feeling all fancy, I'll roll it up and slice it that way, which I think they call like the chiffonade or something. But we're just going to hack away at it today because, I mean, I don't have any more time than y'all do. And I'm supposed to be working on writing checks for consigners instead of playing in the kitchen. So I'm going to finish playing in the kitchen and get to that. But just rough chopping the spinach. And in the bowl it goes. Now, in the bottom, I went ahead and put my mayonnaise because I just think it's easier to turn it up from the bottom than it is to try to work it down from the top. And the other thing that I add is apple cider vinegar. Now, apple cider vinegar in particular is like super good from a probiotic standpoint. All these raw vegetables are really good for your gut, and that's another huge piece of the paleo lifestyle, is taking care of the gut. You know, the quote that you see most frequently when you're reading up on paleo is that, you know, good health starts from the gut, and I'm a huge believer in that, you guys. You know, if you're not already taking a probiotic, do. And eating with probiotics in mind is just a big health improvement. And the healthier you are, the better you can stave off all this other stuff that's floating around in our universe right now. So anyway, as far as how much you put in, it's entirely up to you. I like to be able to, you know, get a taste of the mayonnaise, but I don't want to be bogged down with it. So just make sure it's thoroughly mixed, stick it in the fridge, you're good to go. And that is great with my little barbecue. Now, what actually got me started today was, oh, I have a tomato out here. So for the sake of moving on, I'm not going to sit here and chop the tomatoes, but that's good in my coleslaw too. My grandmother used to do fresh tomato in the coleslaw. So, okay, so Valentine's is coming up. We all have sweet tooths. You know, there's a whole lot with changing your diet that doesn't mean giving up flavor. In fact, I think of the paleo lifestyle as being kind of a way of embracing the good pieces of life, or like, I don't know, prioritizing better and differently. So that having been said, a big deal for me these days is to eat good stuff, and that includes sweet. But it doesn't have to be like commercial white sugar sweet. There's no reason for that. So my new invention, if you will, of late is a chocolate cherry thing. I love chocolate cherry. I mean, what's not good with chocolate? These are frozen. It's just a bag of frozen cherries. I've got them in this casserole dish because that's what's going to fit best in my fridge right now. It's flat, it's glass. I can stack stuff on top of it. But I do just the frozen cherries and a little mixture to go with. So my mixture, let me grab my chocolate here, is unsweetened cocoa, coconut oil, and coconut. Now, you can do variations with this. I like to throw in, I have to be careful with how much I do in the way of nuts, but almond flour is amazing and gives a different kind of texture to things, and also stiffens this up, for lack of a better word, so that you can take this mix and roll it into what they call fat bombs. So they're just like little round truffly things that you can keep in the fridge and grab a couple here and there. And I have to be careful with that kind of thing because there is no just a couple for me. Most of the time I'll sit down and like eat a whole bucket of whatever it is. But if you're going to do it, it might as well be the healthy version. Just this is all still stuff that you need to kind of keep control of. I need to get my shears sharpened. If you don't have a pair of kitchen shears, these are my grandmother's, and it is time to get them sharpened again. But they're worth the investment. As I was opening a couple of jars to kind of get ready for this, one of my favorite pieces of these shears is they've got the ability to open your jars that way. So sometimes like good kitchen tools are important, but they need to be sharp enough to not fumble around on a video that you have not yet learned how to edit smoothly. So anyway, I have leftover shredded coconut from Christmas. And so leftover sweetened coconut from Christmas. So it's not something I normally buy, but I have it. So that's going to be our sweet today. But typically speaking, I do an unsweet coconut, and if I feel like I need to sweeten it, then I add honey. I am huge on the benefits of local organic honey. It does help with allergies. Honey in itself, as long as you use like an organic, lightly processed version, is good for boosting your immunity, and that's fantastic all the time. Clearly we need that much more right now. But I'm going to mix the sweetened coconut with some unsweetened, and in this particular case, this is a finer ground, so it stiffens things up a little bit, whereas a flake is just going to keep it more like almost like a granola on top. Anyway, throw this in here, and I've got my coconut oil in the bottom, and you can do whatever you want with it from here. Now I'm not gonna, well, I don't know, let's throw in some almond flour. That does sound kind of fun for later. And I don't have anybody come in that can't do it. That's a big deal in my world, is I have to be careful with the nuts, but I do have a friend that can't have them at all. So we did this the other night without the almonds, and it was a big success. So anyway, and being a Southern cook, I don't measure much. So if y'all need me to go back and try to figure out some measurements, I will certainly be glad to try, but I think y'all can figure it out. But then I just stir this up. So a little vanilla is good in here. Melting the coconut oil wouldn't have been a bad idea. You can switch this up and give it more of a mint flavor by putting a little mint flavoring in. Actually, chopping up fresh mint itself would be yummy. But it's kind of like everything else I do. It's a good base for a lot of other things. So because I didn't melt the coconut oil first, it's going to take me a minute longer to mix it around. It's no big deal to zap. In fact, if my microwave weren't in my pantry, I'd probably go ahead and do that for you now. But the whole point is to get this to kind of like a crumbly, like when you do a crumb topping on a pie crust, you get it to like a crumbly texture. The coconut oil makes it all wet enough to stick together. You don't have to do butter or any of that other stuff that goes into all the dairy versions of these things. And you're good. And then the way I serve it is I just take my the cherries, and I don't add any sugar to any of this, you guys, because once you get the sugar out of your system, the sugar in the fruit is enough. And in the rare instances that it's not, or as you're weaning yourself off the sugar and you're kind of getting to the point where you're headed towards just doing fruit, throw some honey in there. But the faster you can get yourself away from the white sugar itself, the better off you'll be in a whole lot of ways. So anyway, we're getting the crumbly going, and I'll do some stills here in a little bit just so you can see what it looks like. But this is like a really yummy dessert, but I like it for breakfast too, and I like to put a little almond milk over the top. Now, here's what I want to make sure I stress here. Just because it's healthy doesn't mean that it's calorie free. And I know last time we talked, I said I don't worry about calories. And as a rule, I really don't. I mean, if it's all vegetables and I haven't added anything crazy to it, I just eat as much as my body needs to feel satisfied at the moment. But on something like this, use your head. It's coconut oil and chocolate, so be smart. But the unsweetened cocoa is another thing that I'm finding is high in. The K2 is kind of a focus for me right now. There's high K2 in the cocoa. It's great for heart health. So, you know, the unsweetened is your key here. So, like I said, I'll stick some stills on here also so you can see what this looks like when I finish mixing it up. And if y'all have any questions, please send them to me. I really would like to gear this toward what works for everybody out there as a whole. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.